In July of 2008, in a small town at the tip of Long Island by the name of Montuak, on Ditch Plains Beach, right below the Surfside Inn, this group of 4 ladies found something that they could not explain. They photographed the creature, and many others were present when this happened and were looking at the creature, but they were the ones that photographed it. And this photograph has been reviewed for the better part of 2 decades, and the best explanation they have been able to come up with is a half-decayed raccoon. Join us today as we look at whether or not it's government experimenting, if it's just a decayed raccoon, or if it's demonic, or if it's something more. Join us today on Unknown Anomalies and their biblical connections.
Hey, what's up, y'all? My name's Samuel,
My name's Jim,
and we are here on the Unknown Anomalies and their Biblical Connection podcast.
and we are very excited to be here. We've wanted to do this for a while.
And a while being like a week, like literally a week.
But literally a week, man. But there's another podcast out there that does that called Haunted Cosmos. And they're much better than us. They're awesome.
The
Listen
point of
to
this
them.
podcast is to get you to go listen to their podcast.
Yeah. But what they do is they do the bigger stories, like the Patterson-Gimlin film, the Bigfoot, all the big Bigfoot stuff, the Mothman stuff. What we're going to do is we're going to do smaller accounts. So like the Montauk Monster, yeah, it's a relatively big thing, but it's not as well known.
It's a small monster, you know? It's not very big.
Yeah, he's just a whittle guy. Poor fella.
So, James, whenever you first heard about the Montauk Monster, what was your first reaction?
I honestly, I thought it was, at the time, because I learned about it in Haunted Cosmos. Check them out for more. And you know what they were going through in that episode is what if the government is experimenting on people? And so I looked at it, or I listened to it, and I believed that. But when I looked up the creature, I wasn't as sure. I don't think it's hoaxed, because it'd be really hard to hoax, in my opinion. And we'll get into that more later. But that's just what I originally thought. And I'm still kind of switching between ideas. I'm kind of leaning towards a natural creature right now.
And we may reach a reaction later on. My initial thoughts was kind of the hoax thing. It was like, there's no way this can be real. But I think, like, looking at the people who actually were the people who identified it, it doesn't seem like they were doing it just for publicity.
And something that seems kind of hoaxable about it is, I'll pop up a picture right here and circle stuff, but there's, see right here just by the head, there's like this little line of fur, and here by the hand, there's like this little tied-on thing.
And on the body,
it's like if that was like a seam to hide something.
It does almost look on the body like there's like a beak or something.
Yeah.
So it's like, is it just a decapitated raccoon? Do raccoons have beaks, you know? Like, it just doesn't really make sense, the like kind of explanation scientists have given.
Yeah.
So, to begin this podcast, the first part that we're going to be going through is the native legend.
The native legend.
So, let's talk about the native legend.
Should I take this one?
Yeah, you got it.
All right. I am sure I'm going to get this name wrong, but without further ado, we will enter creepy mode. I'm gonna have to read this.
Omajinakus. Is that the word?
I'm trying to find it.
You can read it off this if you want, or I can read it.
Where did I go? Where was it?
Do you want me to take this part?
Oh, I got it.
Okay.
Entering creepy mode in 3, 2, 1. Umajinakus. Umajanakus are described as a strange snaggle-toothed furry animal with a bald face and rat-like tail. Some have compared its features to a warthog or an otter-beaver mix. Now, they were also considered a sign of bad luck, and Umajanakus is translated into the ugly one, and these were reported being seen through Canadian and American shores by indigenous groups.
It does seem like these creatures were mostly aquatic. Most of the sightings and just legends were around the areas of water, so it could be something where this creature is not just, a desert animal, but more of like a northern aquatic species.
There's definitely something to that theory.
Yeah. So,
exiting creepy mode.
We do have some sightings of these creatures outside of the Montauk Monster, and we'll talk about those a little bit later. But one of them is from the 1950s, and it's from, here's the source, it's from Wikibin. And the interesting thing about Wikibin is it takes all the content from Wikipedia that Wikipedia rejects as uncredible. I don't know if you've heard of it. So
I have not heard of this, but this is going to be my new favorite website.
It's really interesting. So if Wikipedia is like, this article isn't true, then Wikibin will take it and be like, hey guys, read this. So this article says,
are they owned by the same people? Like,
I
what
don't
kind
know.
of a nightmare?
I know.
Every single time they review something.
Okay. According to Daryl Sinawap, a local elected First Nations counselor, the Omajinakus are a very rare creature that is known to its people, which lives in creeks and marshy areas, and is said to feed on beavers. According to traditional beliefs, it is the omen of misfortune. He also claims his uncle came across one during the 1950s. So, these creatures aren't just from 2008. We're going to talk about a little bit that later on. But the Montauk Monster could be a native legend. It could be that animal that dates back to native sightings.
And this kind of stands out to me as quite credible, considering that the appearance of the creature is almost exactly to the picture.
Yeah, for sure.
And so this kind of pushes me away from the government testing theory.
So if it is a native legend, it's obvious that, like, it could either be multiple things with the natives. It could be, an animal. It could be something spiritual. Or it could just be the natives were seeing the government conspiracy test hybrids.
But that
probably not.
But I don't know the date of the native thing, but when you hear of like the native sightings, you think before,
obviously not the really old ones, but the one in the 1950s could still have been because Plum Island Animal Disease Center was founded in 1954, which you'll find out about soon.
All right.
So moving on to the second part of this podcast, we're going to talk about the analysis of photographer and sighters. So the people took the photo, James. Who were they? Tell the podcast listeners.
They were Jenna Hewitt, Rachel Goldberg, and Courtney Fruin. Now, Jenna Hewitt was the one that took the photo, but she took it with Goldberg's camera, with a relatively new digital camera. And to quote her, to quote Jenna Hewitt, she said, "We were looking for some place to sit when we saw some people looking at something."
And then they walked over to it and photographed it?
Yes.
Yeah, gotcha.
Now, why don't you kind of tell us the brief thing you wrote down about Jenna Hewitt?
Yeah, so I think for Jenna, she was 26 years old at the time. She took the photo, and then she got a lot of publicity. They interviewed her and talked a lot about her on news sources. So instantly, it seems like maybe she was just doing it for the publicity. Her and her friends got together. But then what really struck me is the fact that it couldn't just have been her and her friends, was the Michael Meehan sighting. So Michael Meehan was a local, I think a waiter at the Seaside Inn, Surfside Inn. And he said, quote, I saw the monster.
I think he was just a surfer. I thought.
According to the Gawker Archives, it says, that Michael Meehan was a 22-year-old waiter at Surfside Inn.
Oh.
And he said he saw the monster, quote, "I just came walking down the beach and everyone was looking at it. No one knew what it was. It kind of looked like a dog, but it had this crazy-looking beak. I mean, I would freak out if something like that just popped up next to me in the water." And so he noticed the beak, too. And I think the beak is the one thing that really distinguishes it from, like, a raccoon or a possum or something. I don't know.
Yeah. But what another thing that jumps out to me is animal control was called, but apparently never came, and an old guy carted the corpse away to mount on my wall, and that is utterly hilarious.
So,
like, this could have been a breakthrough where we discovered a new species, but some redneck walked up and was like, "I'm gonna put that on my wall," and no one did an autopsy on the thing.
So there were kind of two theories about what happened to the body. There was one that it was given like a Viking funeral and it was burned at sea, and the other one was that somebody just took it home and like hung it on his wall, you know?
Yeah.
Which is a lot funnier.
Which means it's still on somebody's wall to this day.
Maybe it's on Obama's wall. Did you see the photo of Obama giving a fist bump to the Montauk Monster?
Is that photo copyrighted? Can we
If at all possible, you will see it on the screen.
If it is possible, it will be right here.
And if it's not, then go look it up immediately.
Go look it up immediately. It is true. It is not Photoshopped at all. We should tell them what to look up.
Yeah.
Look up the picture of the Montauk Monster with Obama. We forgot to tell them what to look up.
I know. It's good.
We ain't too smart.
It's really good. So, it seems like these photographers weren't just hoaxing it because there were other sighters, and because the photograph obviously couldn't have been a hoax.
Couldn't have been a hoax with, like, the reasonable small town kind of area. So now, we'll get into that later. Do we want to make that connection now?
We can talk about that in a second. You did some research on whether one of them had connections in the film industry. Do you want to talk about that a little bit?
I would like to talk about that. So, Courtney Fruin had she contributed to some footage in a documentary about kind of the secret structures of America. And they kind of flew over the Plum Island Research Lab, which is right by Montauk, and it's kind of a chemical warfare, I believe, or some sort of mind warfare or something lab, some sort of something strange, woo-woo stuff. I don't know, man, and But anyways, she contributed some sort of footage to this. I don't know what footage she contributed, but she may have met some sort of film tie while helping with that movie. I doubt it, but it is a connection that I discovered that we might want to make.
So, was that the same Courtney Fruin?
It was.
It was? Okay. And do you think, was that film made before 2008? I don't know if we have that
Let me look that
available. Yeah, absolutely. So if it was, then it's highly possible that she could have met somebody who could have made the Montauk Monster and, you know, rigged it up on the beach, which is an interesting thought. And even the like local guy, you know, they could have just paid him off to like keep quiet about it. But we're not going to suggest that it is just a hoax because that would be a really boring podcast.
It would.
A couple of the other theories we'll talk about in a little bit is the government conspiracy. We'll talk about that in just a moment. And then, of course, the question you've been asking yourself, is it a cryptid? Is it an actual monster? These sort of things are going to be what we talk about in just a moment. But coming up next in just a few minutes, we're going to talk about the personal research we've done. So we do a lot of research together, and then me and James do some research separately so we can surprise each other with interesting facts live. So what you're about to witness is James telling me something that I've never heard before in real time.
I am undetermined with the year of America's Most Secret Structures.
So we'll just go with she might have looked it up, but probably not.
Yeah.
She might have had someone.
This one that I'm looking at is 2012, but it says there's several of them, so I don't know.
Okay. So if she didn't help, or if she didn't have film connections, then it's very unlikely it was a hoax.
Yeah, or very unlikely that it was some sort of latex monster or something. You know,
Yeah,
maybe they Frankenstein body parts or something, but I doubt it.
True.
You know, there are these, you know, pretty girls in their dresses and everything. They're not gonna go around with a corpse and like tie the corpses together.
Yeah, it doesn't seem like them.
Yeah.
And also, because they didn't, it doesn't seem like they really did it for publicity. Like, if you think about, like, the really big Bigfoot sightings, and the people are, like, still talking about it, 20, 30 years later, it was like they talked about it for a while, and then they, like, left it. So it was like, if it was a hoax, you'd think they would have, like, maybe talked about it a little bit
And
more.
also, you know, like Patterson Gimlin, he went to those conferences. Or Patterson and Gimlin, they went to those conferences. But also, they, like, ensured that film was named after them. This picture was called the Montauk Monster and not the
Patterson Gimlin film is real,
Hewitt
though.
thing.
It is
Yes,
real.
it is. It is very real. But they got publicity off of it. And that one was fake.
Yeah. So, James,
And it was real. Sorry.
Yeah, you're good.
They did not hoax the Patterson Gimlin film. Look it up with Haunted Cosmos. We won't cover that because they do it better.
We don't promise that. We might talk about it.
We might cover it once we are better than Haunted Cosmos.
So, moving on to part 4. James, you want to talk about some personal research you've done?
So, oh gosh, I got close to the microphone. I am sorry for any ear bleeds that I just caused. So something that stood out to me as strange, looking at the Air Force Base, which was the original research lab in Montauk, the Montauk Air Force Base, is there's a gulf there, like kind of a gulf that goes in, and here you might pull up a map,
Yeah, absolutely.
and check out the. Anyways, if something escaped there, it's like it's on the other side of the area, like the other side of the island of Montauk, or the stretch that is Montauk. So it'd have to like go out of this bay here and then go all the way around to here where it was found. Which that'd just be like quite a ways
Yeah.
for this little carcass to wind up where it did.
So with the train of government conspiracies, some of the research that I personally did was on the Montuak project, which, we can't do an episode on the Montauk Monster and not talk about the Montauk project.
Yeah, I agree.
And we will talk about that a little bit in a moment. But surrounding the thought of the government trying to develop mind control, we actually do know that they have attempted that because of the MK Ultra project. Have you heard of this?
Yes.
You have?
Have I heard of this?
Did they have an episode on it?
Yeah.
Oh, really?
Oh, yeah.
I don't know. I haven't actually listened to any of their episodes.
I've listened to much more Haunted Cosmos than him. I've listened to every episode, and this
I've
nerd
listened
is
to,
over
3.
here listening to just the Bigfoot episodes,
No.
which are good episodes.
I need to check them all out. Yeah. But
binge watch them.
James is the one who's listened to it all.
I am the wee woo guy.
Okay. So if you haven't listened to Haunted Cosmos episode on the MK Ultra project like me, it was when the government tried to develop mind control during, I think, the 50s through 70s, and they had to release the information about it under the Freedom of Information Act. And
they had some amount of success.
Yeah, it was some creepy stuff. So this is a really great article from allthat'sinteresting.com, and I'm going to read through some of it very briefly.
Alrighty.
Because I know you audience listeners are busy people.
I'm going to kick back and relax.
All right. So let's talk about the
Goodbye.
MK Ultra project. So this was a declassified document detailing MK Ultra project's mind control experiments. Some information has been redacted. So you can see on this document I have here, if you see it on the screen. If not, then you just have to imagine what I'm talking about. But that the information has been marked out with pen on this like typewritered piece of paper.
Typewritered?
And it says that
Typewritered.
it talks about the project.
New word.
In the general field of LSD at blank until 11th of September 1954. So that was the day that they were working on this project. And so it talks about funding and different stuff about that LSD program. And so this project was really interesting, and it wasn't the only government project that the government would be doing. So you've heard of the Montauk Project.
Yeah.
What's interesting is the government, whenever they were asked if the Montauk Project was actually happening or all the conspiracies around that, they didn't actually deny that they were working on mind control. They just said, hey, we're not working on mind control at Montauk. So it's like, we could be doing it anywhere else. So like Area 51, you know.
And they might have lied about that.
True. Because as we know, the government lies all the time.
I mean, we are making a lot of jokes on this podcast and stuff, but like legitimately, you know, it is naive to believe that our country is not, or our government is not lying to us.
True.
America is still the greatest country in the world, in my opinion. But that does not mean that every single part of the governmental system is completely clean.
Yeah, and especially, like, you know, there's even stuff that, like, you know, certain elements of our government aren't even aware of. Like, I doubt congressmen are aware of all the stuff that FBI agents and CIA agents are doing undercover. But
I bet that there are some congressmen that aren't aware of this podcast.
which is pretty crazy if you think about it.
Which is a perfect time to tell you to like and subscribe.
And send this to literally all of your friends.
All of your friends. Please, I'm desperate.
Like, wouldn't it be funny if you just spammed everyone you knew with this podcast every time a new episode came out?
And currently this is on my studio channel, but eventually we will have a Unknown Anomalies and Their Biblical Connection channel of its own.
There will be a link in this video if you're watching.
In every video.
Yes. So make sure to head over there and subscribe to that channel.
Who's James? My name is Jim.
Jim, not James, sorry.
I grew up with him calling me James, so deal with it. You call me Jim. And you. I'm watching you two.
All right. So, on the train of revealing interesting thoughts that I've researched, have you heard of the kitchen umekusib monster?
What?
Okay. For simplicity's sake, I will refer to it as the kitchen monster. So going back to that Wikibin article, it says, the Omajinakus came to wide public attention in Canada in 2010 when an animal carcass believed by some people to be a specimen of the Umajakus was photographed. It was found in the vicinity of the Big Trout Lake in northwest Ontario. It was referred to as the Big Trout Lake Monster or the kitchen umekusib monster due to where it was found. It was subsequently identified as the body of a decomposed animal, or American mink. But as always, you know, it's not always what scientists identify as.
Yeah.
Okay, so summarizing another article from a really great article by CS Monitor, and it talks about this. It says 2 nurses in this town of Kitchenusamayam was found the monster walking with their dog, Sam. They had a dog named Sam. Anyway, Sam sniffed the furry carcass and pulled it out of the water where it was floating. Also promoting my aquatic animal theory. The creature was about 1 foot long. It had a ghostly white face and terrifying fangs. The nurses who took the photos noticed a highly odorful smell. As the photo went viral, speculations included an otter, a boar, a weasel, as well as another Montuak monster, a baby lake monster, or even an El Chupacabra, which is a Hispanic vampire beast. You didn't like my Spanish accent there?
El Chupacabra.
We need to do an episode on the Chupacabra. just so we can say Chupacabra a lot.
We are strange men.
So, what are your
JK,
thoughts?
we're not men. We're young men. My thoughts? We are freaks. And I love it. And I think this actually does lend some credibility, is that, like, not everyone who's seen this has said it's the exact same thing.
Yeah.
Which, you know, means that there's less, like, just repeating it to
get
the popularity of it. Which I do think lends a lot of credibility.
For sure. So, knowing that there's been other sightings of this, like the 1950 case I talked about, the 2010 or the other cases with the kitchen monster and the Montauk Monster, it seems like it could be a species. Or what if it is a government hybrid that leaked out during the 1950s and has been rampaging across Canada and Northern America? Think about it.
The thing to me about that is he like freaking Captain Salazar's crew in Pirates of the Caribbean, where like they touch the land and they're like ah, and like they're like swimming around and they're like, we're gonna get them Americans, and then they like touch the beach and they just die on the spot, and none of them have made it into the land. My personal theory is that the Montauk Monster is in fact Perry the Platypus.
That would make a lot of sense, actually.
He's shaped round, and he has a beak. Let that ruminate in your head.
All right. So
that is a joke, by the way.
Moving on to the next part about the government conspiracy. There's rumors that it was a government hybrid, either connected with the Montauk Project or the Plum Island Animal Disease Center, or PIADC. Have you heard of the PIADC?
I've heard about them, but I haven't heard much about them. I've heard that they exist. I haven't heard much about them.
So the Plum Island Animal Disease Center, according to the Department of Homeland Security, was founded in 1954. Quote, since 1954, the Plum Island Animal Disease Center has served as the nation's primary defense against accidental or intentional introduction of transboundary animal diseases, highly transmittable diseases of livestock and other animals, including foot and mouth disease, and then it lists other diseases that you don't want to hear about. But what's interesting is this is actually a quite secretive government facility. Like, there's not a lot of stuff about it because it's very secretive. So what if the government was creating hybrid animals at this laboratory? What if they were giving animal diseases an attempt to develop their own messed up genetic disaster?
I mean, that very well could be. And that is something definitely.
I mean, if the government's trying to mind control their own citizens, what's to say they don't take a raccoon and mess it up with like a bird or something? I don't know.
Yeah, it's like they like put a beak on it and something.
Yeah. And then it
has a beak, which means, we thought it was the Montauk Monster, but it was just a bird. I'm sorry.
Was it just a bird?
That's
if you don't get that reference, then you need to spend more time watching YouTube videos.
There's a Bigfoot, The Boys Hunt for Bigfoot movie on this channel. If you're watching it on Scissortail Studios,
and if you're not,
and this is the future, and we have our own channel, then subscribe to Scissortail Studios. I think you'll like it.
And it's not the other Scissortail Studios. It's Scissortail Studios, all caps.
But we will have it as a link in the description when we get our new channel.
Yes. So with the government conspiracy, if it was a modified hybrid, we don't want to have that kind of sound. No.
I found a squeak.
So, do you think if it is a government conspiracy, that it would more likely be from the PIADC or the Montuak Project facilities?
I personally think the Montuak Project facilities.
Yeah, they are more secretive.
But something that would make sense to me as a testing thing is there's a creature called the Montuak deer. And look at the.
I did look at the link you sent.
Yeah,
that was
really that's a very similar body type, but the head's not quite there. So if you mix that with something,
it does have fangs though. Did you read about that?
Oh, I didn't read it. I just looked at the picture.
It's really interesting.
But its head. The thing about the Montauk Monster that really gets me is the head just sort of slants down.
Yeah.
There's no neck. There's no separation between the neck and the head. It just sort of slants down into head. And that's not the thing with the deer. So, my thought is, maybe they mix something with the deer.
Yeah, for sure. And that animal is native to like Asia, right? It's not like anywhere near. It's not anywhere near New York. I'm not exactly sure where it was native to though.
I don't know if it's native to Asia. My bad. I looked up native animals to Montauk, and that's the first thing that popped up, and I was like, hey, I'm going to make that connection because I ain't got nothing else.
Yeah. So it could be a government conspiracy. Moving on to the next part.
But it's called Montjack.
Moonjack? It sounds very similar.
Montjack,
Moonjack
which is
Monster.
similar to Montauk,
True.
which means it might be from Montauk.
Think about it, guys.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
So now we're moving on to part 6. Is it a hoax? So, a recent thought I had surrounding the Montauk Monster is, what if the Canadians just wanted to play a practical joke on the Americans? So they paddle across during the night, put this weird monster on the beaches to surprise everybody, sail off, and then they come back later to make it disappear. And then the Canadians have tricked America.
No. No.
Okay, no other thoughts on that?
No.
Or I'll check that theory off. What if it is a raccoon, James? Could it be a raccoon?
Also no.
Yeah, I think it's so funny that the scientists were like, it's definitely a raccoon. We figured it out. And then it's like, have you guys actually looked at the pictures?
Oh my gosh, I just had a genius idea. So what if the scientists looked at it and were like, oh my gosh, this is an undiscovered species.
Oh,
and the U.S. government came in and were like,
tell them it's a raccoon.
This is a raccoon or you die.
They did
and then they tell everyone, make up this whole native lore.
Yeah, that would make so much sense.
Around the Umanajakos or whatever.
So maybe it is all government conspiracy thing.
Which, like, it
would
actually
explain
could
the raccoon more than anything.
That would explain
They come in
the
and
raccoon.
do the, like, look into this pen thing.
And we are joking, but that actually might be my new theory. I was leaning into a natural animal.
So, along those lines, we would like to warn you going into this podcast, if we spontaneously disappear one day, you will know why.
Listen, I'm good at shooting. I practice good muzzle discipline. I'm very happy. And I would not even consider suicide. So
we're stable people.
If the story from the CIA, from our so famous death, for all of our 52 subscribers,
right,
then just know that the government did it, just like they assassinated MLK. Listen to Hana Cosmos for more. It is very true. MLK's family sued the government and won.
Yeah, that's a different episode.
And won. And won. They won.
All right. So,
anyways,
it could be, as James pointed out, a raccoon cover-up for the actual animal.
That's actually my new theory.
It actually makes so much sense. So if that was the case, then obviously the government would have had to be behind it. Or
we should look up, look through old libraries and see if there's, like, any predated, like, anything that has
I haven't thought of that. Yeah. So one interesting theory is it's an alien. And it actually makes sense to me because think of every alien invasion movie. It always happens in New York City. And where is Montauk close to? New York City.
New York City.
So
say it with a dramatic voice. It makes the viewers happier.
So the viewers will be happier.
This is your normal
stop
voice.
messing with the mic.
This is your special voice.
So,
but I like messing with the mic.
Okay.
Hello.
Okay.
Our podcasters, if they can't hear that squeak and they're just listening to it, they won't see me turning the mic upside down, and they'll
be
just
so
like,
confused.
Huh? What's
right.
happening?
So these listeners are very busy people. They want to know what the Montauk Monster really is. It's not a raccoon. It's not a hoax. So now we go to part 7. The part you've been waiting for. Is it a cryptid, James?
Is it a cryptid? Now, personally, my personal conviction, being a Christian, is that a lot of the, evolution type monsters are actually demons trying to fool us, trying to push us farther away from Christ. This, I hesitate to put it into that thing since it is a carcass.
Yeah.
But something that makes me think that may be a spiritual demon, is that, the whole, the Native Americans associated it with bad luck, which that could just be some woo-woo, it could be made up by the government. I'm not even joking with that theory. They've done much more elaborate schemes in the past. So, basically, I hesitate to put it as my main theory, but it is a very close second to anything else I have.
Yeah. What made me hesitant to it being just like a demon is that it is just like a carcass. So it's like, if demons are...
somebody could walk home with it.
Yeah, if it is like a spiritual thing, I don't think that demons are necessarily restricted by like a physical body because they are in the spiritual realm.
Yeah.
So, I don't know. I feel like that theory wasn't as strong. What if it is
But they could all the Bigfoot with orb stuff, they could put on a Bigfoot costume just as well as they could put on a dead thing costume.
So they definitely could do it.
The problem is that dead thing just, set cooking in the sun for an hour.
Yeah. So what if it is, an actual monster or, an undiscovered species?
So that's what I kind of think of a lot is, what if it's something that washed down the shores? Normal people say wash. Sorry. Pardon my Oklahoman. Washed down the shores of Canada. Normal people say Canada. Canada, and wound up on an American beach, or maybe washed down from some other part in America and wound up there. But that's kind of the native area that they've been known to be seen. But what gets me about all the Bigfoot being a real creature and this being a real creature is why aren't there a higher population?
Yeah,
because it makes sense for there to be a low not see a few big feet or not see a few Montauk monsters, but for a whole species.
That's a good point.
So maybe they have a common genetic defect where they just can't repopulate every 4 generations.
Personally, I don't see it being an actual monster because of the whole the animal bodies disappear every time. It's somebody you'll see them and then it's it disappears, in the 2008 and 2010 cases both. So it's if it is an animal, maybe somebody just took it home. Maybe the government sent in their cleanup crew to make it disappear,
Or maybe it is a demon.
Yeah. But either way, if it is just another species...
The old redneck man that went off, I'm going to put this on the wall, was another demon.
That would make sense, yeah.
To hide the evidence. Yeah. Because demons
but
don't do well in autopsies.
It would make sense for the government to be somebody got a photo, we got to make this body disappear.
It would.
So, now we move on to the final part, part 8, concluding analysis. James, what is your key takeaway from the Montauk Monster?
So, I've actually come to my firm conclusion here today that it is either demonic deception or it is the government lost hold of this creature. It washed up on a shore and they created all this native lore around it and forced people to say it's a raccoon. That is, it's between that is a
theory
possession.
You're not going to get anywhere else. That happened on this podcast.
That is a theory.
Okay.
That you won't get anywhere else.
Yeah.
You're dumb.
I lean towards the government conspiracy thing, but I would not be surprised if it was a hoax. I do think it's still plausible that they did just rig it up somehow. I don't even know if it was them. Like, it might have been a more elaborate, like a whole group of people or like the film industry thing. But I do definitely lean towards the thing that is like maybe it was a Plum Island Animal Disease Center disaster. Maybe the government was trying to cover it up. I don't know if it does go as deep as the whole, brainwashing scientists or things. But I do think that the government was probably involved here to some extent.
Something that I've thought about, though, is what if it's like, you know how we have, like, common diseases and people get, and they have this, like, same basic shape they get?
Yeah.
Like how they look when they have this disease. What if that's, like, a thing with these, whatever it is, maybe it's like a pig or something, but it's like a few pigs have this very small, like, not common disease where, like, it'll make their bones form weird.
Yeah.
Into, like, a beak shape, and that just rotted away. Or maybe they are born without much of a face, and that's why they're always dead. It may be something like that. And it may be sea-related, and that's why they always find them at sea.
So, we have concluded that it is not a raccoon, that it may have been a government conspiracy, or maybe it was just a bird.
Maybe. It was just a bird.
Thank you guys for tuning in. Make sure to like, subscribe, and give us any comments or suggestions on episodes.
And share this with all the friends you know. And keep in mind that if you do not like conspiracy theories and you think that we are just all dummies if we believe in conspiracy theories, like Bigfoot or anything in general, leave your opinion in the comment section down below so that we can dislike it. I will read it very often, and I will make fun of you guys.
And you think we're joking here.
I promise, with all of my soul, that at least for the first month, I will check the comment section almost every day if I can't manage to do it every single day. I promise.
All right. You have a promise, and you have an episode. I hope you guys enjoyed it, and I hope you're ready for the next episode on unknown anomalies and their biblical connections.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
We'll see you next time.